Good morning, all. So to call to order, the Board of Denture Technology meeting is convening at 9:05 a.m. on September 25th, 2023. This meeting is being held by MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through MS Teams keep your phone muted and cameras off during the entire meeting until you are given the opportunity to comment during the public and interested parties feedback period, if indicated on the agenda. Please do not use the chat feature during meetings. I will now call roll. Ron Ferris, here. Todd Young,
Here.
Chris Chapman,
Here.
Grant Smith,
Here.
okay. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Public members attending in person wishing to speak must first sign in at the roster sheet available. Public members on MS Teams, please email Carrie Edwards at carrie.edwards@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties' feedback may be heard during the public interest party feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked the appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting business. This meeting is called to order. So you want the prior to public interest and parties' feedback, at this time, the Board of Denture Technology will hear from public interest parties, feedback, members of the public. This meeting is being held by the MS Teams video conference as being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. Please be sure to mute your microphone and all unmute only when you have been recognized. Once recognized,
Hey,
please
Ron?
state your name. I know
Ron.
it sounds like a repeat. Yeah.
You jumped way ahead. So you called me to order, and then public interested parties feedback will be item number 4 on the agenda. So you'll have to reread that.
It sounded like a repeat. Thanks. Okay.
Okay.
So we
All
got the
right.
roll. We're good. It said meeting called to order.
You good? Oh, good. All right. So first item, second item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I don't see it on here. The only thing at the last meeting, there was a request to discuss the avenues or the education. Maybe it was deleting some education on and reviewing what is there. And I was just requested that we got a committee or had a discussion so everybody's an understanding, and if moving forward on that, it was something. I didn't see it on the agenda, but I just remember the request was there. Todd shaking his head.
Necessarily
Okay.
remember that. I think I might have missed part of the meeting.
Oh.
I remember on vacation in June. So you want like an education committee to meet? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I think that the request was to delete, if that's the right word, some formal education that is in the chapter already, and that would be quite a process of opening up the statutes and everything to do that.
Oh,
And
okay.
And so I just wanted to find out if it was we really wanted to get that involved?
Well, this is Sammy.
Or we
HLO
can just
wouldn't,
chat about it?
HLO wouldn't likely carry that type of legislation. We used to do that when we were our own agency, but we don't anymore. Todd has a question.
The reason that I brought this up is because of the reciprocity, for lack of a better term, that we used to have with Washington, now no longer exists, as our pathways to licensure are not congruent with them, Idaho, Montana, Arizona, or Maine, because of the fact that we have a piecemeal and not an actual recognized program process to it. So I realize this isn't something that's, I don't know that this is something that the association is going to carry for us. This is something that I'm asking for the HLO to look at cleaning up. I mean, I don't think that there's any place else.
I'm
That has-
absolutely happy to look at it, write, do some edits for you, and then pass it off for the
Okay,
association. Is that kind of what you're asking?
I'm hoping that as the
Okay.
association,
Yeah,
that the
absolutely.
association
I
doesn't
already have
touch
things
it.
written up,
Well,
so.
I think having endorsement by the association and understanding would be a big silver bullet for the whole conversation, of course.
Yeah.
Because the reciprocity between the states agreed upon and then bring that forward would be a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd, for the understanding on the reciprocity.
I think they were in
Because
the
of the
middle
first-
of approving the agenda, and I think they're gonna add something to it,
Okay, so we're gonna add a little conversation about this education
to the agenda.
under licensing stuff.
Do we have to make
Okay.
a motion to add an item for that?
You can just
The way I remembered it,
make a motion
quick.
to amend the agenda.
So I'd like to make a
Right,
motion to
because
amend
the
the
way I-
agenda to include a discussion under other board business regarding pathways to licensure. And
I'll
approve
second
the
that.
agenda.
And we need a second to approve the agenda.
I'll second that if I can.
Ron can't, sorry.
That's what.
Chris or Grant?
This Grant Smith, I second.
Okay. Now, Ron, if you could call roll, please.
Okay. It's, we have a motion on the floor, so we're gonna call roll. All in favor of the motion? Ron Ferris, yay. Todd Young,
Aye.
correct. Chris Chapman, yay or nay or an aye for Chris Chapman?
Sorry, aye.
All right, thank you. Motion carries and we're off on to.
Don't forget Grant Smith.
Grant?
Oh, I thought we
Grant
already called you.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Nope. We're good.
All right.
Smith. Thank you, Grant.
The next item on the
Okay.
agenda is the 2024 chair.
Yeah, it seems like another year is coming up already fast again, and yeah, I have no problem is passing the voice on to somebody who can read this a little more organized. I think that's fine. But so I'm open to nominations.
This is Grant Smith. I nominate Todd Young.
Todd's making these
Yeah.
funny faces, these emotional head shakes.
I thought it was, at least I didn't say anything. I was off mute. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to take it if Ron doesn't want it. As long as it doesn't require too much more work than what you're putting me through right now, which is very little. Staff has been awesome. So I appreciate these board meetings a ton. So they're just well run. So great job, everyone.
Well, Well, I don't have, I think, fresh oxygen is always a good thing and rolling it over is good. With Todd being the nomination, it's not, experience isn't a question. So there you go. If
This is
yeah, if
Bob.
there's no other nominees, do we do a vote on that, or is that just?
Well,
yeah.
we need Chris and Grant to to second it or make another recommendation.
I
No,
made the
this is
motion,
Chris.
so I would not second.
Okay, sorry, thank you. And that was
Did you
Chris
get
or
this?
Grant?
Yeah, I can second that. This is Chris if you need me to. You bet.
Okay. Ron, you're off the hook, it sounds like. So if you
Okay.
solidify that with a vote or a roll call, that'd be great.
Okay. So I don't know if that was a motion, but it was a vote for chairman for, it's 2024, for Todd Young. The roll call would be Ron Ferris. Aye. Todd Young.
Can I abstain, Bob?
No.
Chris
Yes.
Chapman. Brad Smith.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations. We have a chairman for 2024.
All right.
Thank you all.
So next is the 2024 meeting dates. I see the three on here of January 22nd, June 3rd, and September 23. I have nothing that conflicts with that. Any other recommendations or approval?
The September 23rd date, while not booked yet, falls directly in the archery elk hunting season. If I'm good enough, I probably will be done, but the last 5 years I haven't been good enough and haven't been much to my wife's frustration. So that one, I'll see if I can move it forward a little bit to make that, but I'll keep everyone in loop heading up to it.
Okay.
So is that a first and a second or?
I make a motion to approve all three.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We can get a second.
I will second that. Grant Smith.
Fine. So if we have that, if that's a motion to be approved, then we do the roll call to approve the 2024 dates as written. And approve Ron Ferris. Aye. Todd Young.
Aye.
Chris Chapman.
Aye.
Grant Smith.
Aye.
Okay, that's 2024. Okay, the next on the agenda is the director's report.
Yes. This is Bob Bothwell for the record. We will start with board member recruitment, and Derek Foltz is on the line. Derek, you want to give it?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Derek Foltz. I am executive assistant here at the Health Licensing Office, and a large part of my job is to find qualified members to serve on the different boards and councils that we have, as well as helping to maintain individuals' memberships and appoint them to a second term if they so choose. So as you can see from the memo on page 12, there's a breakdown of everybody's current terms. Now, this particular board is made up of 7 members. We've got 4 denturists, 1 dentist, and 2 members of the public. So when we're doing active recruitment for the board, one of the best tools that we have is just simply reaching out to our licensees, since 4 of those members have to be licensed through our office. The other thing that we've really recently started to do is use different state publications to put notices in, do press releases, and kind of advertise the vacancies that we have. And so far, that's been pretty successful. Now, just the way that this particular board operates, members of this board have to go through a Senate confirmation hearing, which only takes place a few times a year. And members are appointed to for up to 2 3-year-long terms for a total of 6 years. And we just had the last round of Senate confirmations. It's actually going to take place this week, and we are expected to appoint a dentist. So the dentist will be available and should be attending the next board meeting.
Do we know the name of that dentist yet?
Yes, his name is Dr. Bruce Schwand, I believe is how you say the last name.
Great. Fantastic.
And then last thing, since Todd, you just got appointed to serve as the chair in 2024, your first term does end in March of 2024. So if you decide to continue on to a second term, I'll probably reach out to you later this year or early 2024 and kind of guide you as to how to start the reappointment process.
Sounds great, Derek. Looking forward to it.
Great.
Quick question, Derek, on that. Do the public members, do they have to have a geographic? I know at one point that there was some emphasis on having people from various parts of the state. I mean, I don't know many people from other parts of the state. Just and we've got a couple. Grant and I are both from the Eugene area, so trying to get someone public. Would they take a public member from Eugene?
Yeah, so they'll technically take a public member from anywhere inside the state of Oregon. Ideally, we'd like to get someone that represents kind of an marginalized or underrepresented part of the state. So rural areas is always a good thing. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of traction on public members at this point. So we're kind of, anyone that's interested, I can definitely send their information off to the governor's office for consideration.
Okay.
So the only caveat for the public member is kind of the statutory language that describes that position. It's basically got to be someone who's not a licensed dentist, not a licensed denturist, and really doesn't have a professional connection to that field. So they can't have a family member that's a licensed dentist or a licensed denturist either.
Okay.
I think this is Ron. I think the subject come up once and I try to remember what the answer was, but with a denturist that is either retired or license is lapsed and not licensed anymore, still an avenue for a public member?
As far as my understanding is that an individual that had worked in the profession would not qualify as a public member.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
And Derek, how's Chris Chapman for reappointing?
So Chris, you're actually on through your second term, which actually ended last year. So if you are able and willing, we'd like to have you serve until replaced, which is an option, but you are technically done and able to step down whenever you choose. Like I said, we are working on more recruitment efforts, so hopefully we can find someone to replace you. So you don't have to stay on forever.
Yes, he does. As long as I'm on.
So yes, I even if Todd hadn't said that, I would say yes, I'll stay on. So yeah, no problem. Stay on until as long as you need me.
Great,
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
You bet.
Todd
This is Grant
and Chris.
Smith. I have a question about recruiting a new denturist to be on the board. Is that done through outreach from your office, or is that done by suggestion of perhaps our association or by board members?
Excuse me, it can be done through all of those means. So typically, if we don't have anyone expressing interest in the position, we will do outreach through the office. But if anyone on the board knows anyone that's interested, they can always send them my way and I can give them a little more information, a little more guidance about the process.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Derek. All right, Chair, members of the board, if you are ready to move on, we'll be at licensing fiscal statistical reports. So if you're following along on the computer, we're on slide 15. This is a slide, all these slides you've all seen before, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. So licenses issued, we've had 2 in Q1 of fiscal year 2024. And for those of you who don't recall or don't know, fiscal years start July 1 That's why it's already showing Q1 for fiscal 2024. Licenses renewed, we've had a total of 27 in Q1 of 2024. And looks like they're all but one are online. Licenses by age and gender. It's looks like we are getting some newer, younger licensees in. But yeah, we're like me. Todd?
Still a little bit old. Still a little bit old, but it's trending better. If we were to look at one from like 10 years ago, the bell was way shifted. I mean,
Yes.
way shifted. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, we have literally 9 Denturas that are 74 years and older. I mean, they could run for president. I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to interject any politics. That was meant for both parties, for the record, though. So yeah, I'll shut up now.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on quickly. Licensing trends. It's pretty stagnant. We're 115 Q1 of fiscal year 22. We're at 114 now, and that could be, you know, we could have somebody getting their license renewed or something, or getting a new license here that we're not aware of, and that'll bring us flatlined. So that is pretty static. We'd like to see it increase, I'm sure. Financials, you've got 20 through 2023 and currently 2024. We haven't had a whole lot of expenditures. Revenue keeps increasing. Net operations, it's up and down, 18,000 and change in 2020 to 14,000 in 2023. So new on this graph is the assessments and the differences. And 2024 is, if you look at the bottom part of the graph where it shows it's dropped 3% and 8%, that's because we're in the first quarter of 2024. So those will move north and be up in the 1.6 or 0.161% and 1.005 for small board assessments. Any questions on any of that?
No.
Okay. Trappist Shuck is on the line.
Hello, everyone.
Morning, Trampus.
Good morning. So we got the regulatory report here. We've got 2 bienniums actually on here. The 2023 biennium, which we just most recently kind of went past here in July, is we don't have any currently open cases for that time frame. We had 7 come in, but all of them are closed now. Currently, we're in the newer 2025 biennium, which, like I said, began in July of this year. We've only received 2 complaints since then. They are still currently under investigation. They're just moving through the process. But you can see that we don't really have much of a backlog or anything like that here. We're in pretty good shape. So,
Okay.
anybody
this
have
is
any?
Ron.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Ron. I didn't get that sheet printed. It sounds pretty plain the way you just explained it, but mine didn't roll out on my here. I don't know about everybody else, but
Yeah, like I said, right now it's currently showing mainly that there are 2 current open cases. They came in just recently, within the last couple of months. I think last month, and there's just currently under investigation. We'll take a look at those as we get them closer. The other things that are on this report Ron, are that they're the complaints by type. The 2023 we had one COVID complaint and 6 service complaints. Most of the complaints here with this board are service complaints. Fit, somebody wasn't happy with the fit or the outcome that they were having with their denture. And then the complainants by type, of the 9 complaints, we put those 2 bienniums together, the 9 complaints we've had over the last 2.5 odd years. 7 of them have come in from clients and 2 were other, which other usually means a third party, an advocate, a parent, or not usually a parent in this situation, a kid or something like that, somebody that isn't the actual client. So 0 anonymous. Would be kind of hard to have an anonymous complaint for this particular board, but unless it was just unlicensed, which we get very few. So that's pretty much the overview. Does anybody else have any questions or?
Nope.
All right, great.
All right. Thanks, Trampas. Next on the list is the policy report. So I'm going to step out of the way and let Sammy come in here.
I don't have much to say, except I did not get the mobile lab practice clarification updated, but I will have it in February. But basically it doesn't limit, I said this last time, it doesn't limit a denturist to the setting they can practice denture technology. And so if you want to do it in a mobile lab, do it in a mobile lab. Just make sure that, safety, sanitation, all that's up to speed. That's basically all it's going to say. And then administrative rule update. I think I said that I would give you a schedule at this meeting. That's not happening because Bob assigned me the brand new board. And so I don't have time, but I plan to do it in February, but if not February, for sure June. So you're not the only one that got put off. Bob did it. Bob. Other than that, that's all that I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, I don't. Just by definition, the mobile lab included a chair and an operatory, right? Yeah.
Say that again.
The mobile lab definition included a chair and an operatory. I mean, it was a denturist working in a mobile aspect. Help me here if I missed it.
I think so. I think I understand. Yeah, so the mobile lab would be, you mean, can you do clinical stuff? Is that what you're asking? Like,
Yeah, like, I mean, people go to nursing homes and they got a valued situation there, which is good. But laboratory there's a wet side and the dry side. And as I explained it to others when I get asked, it includes the whole scope of practice.
Right, yes. And
Okay.
I can clarify that in the, that would be lab and chair side.
Todd's got a hand up there too. Oh,
Yeah, I really feel like our current statute administrative rule covers mobile labs. I mean, the bottom line is a lab is a lab. Whether it's portable or not, you still have to maintain asepsis. You still have to maintain a sterile environment, depending on when you're moving those items from a laboratory position to a clinical environment. That clinical environment may be an assisted living bedroom or a independent living apartment. So are we?
That's why we do practice clarifications.
Yeah.
So
So we're not trying to add language surrounding a whole mobile. Okay.
Nope.
Awesome.
I'm just gonna say, hey, someone asked this and here's the answer.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
just post it to the web. We'll send it out to all denturists, and we have one like it about non-orthodontic dental appliances.
Yeah.
And teeth whitening too, I believe.
Okay.
And if you don't have any more questions, it's time for public comment. So that's your cue, Ron, to where it says prior to public and interested parties' feedback, to read that in the record.
Okay, I can do that. I'll find it here. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up, because I've heard the answer, I just wanted to hear it again. Okay, now we're public interest, parties, feedback. As written, public interest and parties' feedback. At this time, the Board of Denture Technology will hear public interest, parties' feedback, members of the public. This meeting being held by MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. Please be sure to mute your microphone and unmute only when you have been recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and affiliation to the board for the record. Any public interest? Anything on the phone?
I don't see anyone but staff. Because the two phone numbers are, why? I like the list.
There's everybody that's on this call.
That's who everyone who's in the list. Yeah, there's no public, any public in the room? No. Okay, so can I go to other board business?
Other board business.
So just to kind of structure it so that we're meeting public meetings law is other board business usually means kind of give me the framework, and at the next meeting I'll report information. So I've heard earlier that one would be aligning reciprocity with, I'm assuming what you're saying is like license for license. If you have a Washington license, you get an Oregon license. What your reciprocity currently is definitely not anything like reciprocity. It's basically do exactly what you have to do to get a license if you're from Oregon. It's literally identical. It's actually harder because you have to have 2 years of minimum experience. So it's more difficult if you have a license in another state to get a license in Oregon than it is for someone who's just out of school. So I'm assuming you want license for license. And
Well,
what I
if-
would do is just kind of do a blanket law under the board to establish policies, criteria, and assessment. That would read more like determine the qualifications, training, education, fitness of applicants for licensure, renewal of licenses, and reciprocal licenses. Period.
Yeah.
So
I
then
mean,
you can
the
decide.
bottom line is we're the only state that has that 2,000 hours on there. And so again, if there's a way to clean, yeah, maybe I can work with you offline to
Yeah.
get some language, take back to the association and work with the association leadership to come back. That would be great, just to better align and modernize it. Yeah,
Are
go
you
ahead.
thinking reciprocity and the actual regular application requirements with the because where we get hung up on the piecemeal is where am I at? Venture, yeah, is somewhere. Provide to the office official transcript verifying completion of associate degree program in denture technology. You could do period or the equivalent in formal post-secondary. That's where piecemealing comes in.
Right.
So
This is Grant Smith. Can I interject something here?
yes.
Okay, so conflict of interest rules indicate that when something affects you individually differently than it does everybody in the profession, that becomes a conflict. And while there's no stated opposition to doing this, I don't think it's all been fleshed out, but this does affect Todd differently. And I think that needs to be looked at. Not
Absolutely.
saying that I have opposition to that, but I'm saying.
No,
as we
I would
talk about
prefer it to
that,
be
we
above
might wanna
board,
be
Grant,
careful.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah.
exactly right.
You know, there are two things happening here, and one is we have a reciprocity issue that all members may be interested in, all venturists may be interested in. It's just that when we go to one source to get your education, Todd is affected differently. And so as we approach this or try to solve it, I just want to make sure we're careful with that.
Yeah, since it's wouldn't be an HLO bill or OHA bill, it would be on the associations. You guys would carry it how you want. And me and Todd have had this discussion. I think we've written up several things that if there was a vote with any of this involved, he has a script that he would read.
I
Absolutely.
have a script to read,
Right.
correct.
When it comes to just informing process, that does not become a conflict.
No.
Meaning if
It's
you're,
really
you're
only when
walking
there's a
through process or how to get there, I don't think that constitutes any conflict.
No, because it's just, you're not making a decision. Only when you're voting does conflict of interest. Well, not necessarily. If there was like,
It is advocacy.
an
You're-
investigation,
you're
there
in
could be
conflict.
conflict of interest that wasn't, money related.
Yeah, just anything that affects you individually differently than all the interests, that's what it is. And so that gets into, lots of stuff. Anyway,
But Todd, if you want to ever read that in just because, please do, by all means.
I probably will begin doing that at the very least at the next meeting as chair, just because of that, because I'll have some influence on setting agenda. So, I mean, again, I echo what Grant says. I don't need that kind of shade on me.
Trust me, you
So,
don't.
yes.
I'm dealing with it with another board right now.
Okay.
So will you send me the script that we wrote? Because I've looked for mine and I cannot find it anywhere.
I got you, Sam.
Okay. So I think I've got a good grasp on this. Me and Todd actually have other things to work on, like his forms. But we'll bring something back, hopefully at the February meeting. I don't think it's going to be too much work, but I don't know. If not, are you guys hoping to do something in 2025?
I don't
Is
have
that
an
your goal?
agenda on it. I just brought it up because there was movement on the Washington side, and we've had a couple of students that are graduates from the ADC that have moved from Oregon to other states, or from states to Oregon that had issues with proving hours and some of this other stuff. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to remove barriers to licensure for people to come into the state yeah, that's all.
And if you guys
Okay.
want one of us to come to your association meetings and, report out how the process works, we would probably be happy to send somebody.
That'd be awesome, but that would be next to April-ish. So, okay.
Okay, this is just Ron in closure. You had mentioned that, or Todd recommended that you talk about this offline. And you had just mentioned you had some other issues you were talking about with Todd offline. What was that?
Oh, when we get, examination forms for somebody passing or failing the examination, there's been a few adjustments made that we didn't get the adjustments. And so, is more difficult to calculate. So it's just making sure that we are all on the same page as far as forms.
That's the second,
Okay,
that's
thank
the
you.
second thing I'll read regarding universal testing services.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's how that entity is reporting to the state, how those people that are taking written and practical examinations, it's the scoring sheet, Ron, specifically, how it's being
I'm
reported.
sorry. It really comes up, a lot of it is, we want pass fail, and normal testing gives you numbers. And so it's kind of trying to mesh those two things together. And some things were added and we're like, I don't know what this means. So it's just making sure those are aligned and that the retake, because the law says if you fail the practical, you have to retake hours. So we have to actually see which part of the practical you failed in order to, by rule, it defines what types based on what you fail, what you're going to have to take as additional education. So it's just trying to make sense of all of that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And we can report, I can report that out the next meeting. That's not a problem. Any more
So
questions
any
for me?
other? No, I was a question. Any other board business?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
If you just want to adjourn the meeting, that would be great.
Okay. Well, next we come up to, yeah, thank you for all the input, everybody. There's a lot of information there. But okay, it's time to adjourn the meeting. The Board of
Okay.
Adventure Technology meeting is adjourned at,
Oh, Tina, did you have a question?
did I hear a
No.
voice?
Okay.
No, I didn't. I would love to see that reciprocity thing change.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
yeah. You will
It's a
not leave us
heartache.
out of the loop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
We'll try that again?
Yes, please.
yes.
Okay. To adjourn the meeting, the Board of Adventure Technology meeting is adjourned at 9:46. And this is September 25, 2023. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.